Hello. Happy Monday.
We're always a little shocked, like, oh, they did it again.
It's not like we don't know.
We don't know. Happy Monday, guys. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Welcome to Open Mic with Ali and Michelle. Thank you for joining us. Wherever you're joining us from, make sure you chime in the chat below. We do monitor that throughout the show. We also want to thank our Spotify listeners. We're grateful to you. We have quite the lineup today. There's a lot to discuss, including some of the fireworks that took place Friday after our show with the visit from Putin to Alaska. I mean, there was some really stealth things that took place there.
I know.
It was pretty exciting.
Show of force.
Plus, we have the wonderful Ivan Raiklin joining us
The
later.
Wonderful? Okay, that makes him sound like he is. No, he is like
wonderful.
He's just
the deep state marauder.
The deep state marauder. Like, you got to give him that, because you say wonderful and amazing. It's too soft. That man is literally the tip of the spear.
He is. And just the times he's shown up and you see like Fauci's face, like testifying.
It's like fire.
And then there's
him.
Ivan's name.
Fire and smoke.
Right here. Fire and smoke. You're going to want to keep it locked here.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and open the mic.
Take 'em back on freedom, back to where we started. We're wearing our red hat tonight. It takes more than just a feeling. Oh, better be believing, and America's gonna be home.
What do you do when they try to cancel you? MAGA Nation, we cancel proof. My red hat stays on. My red hat stays on. You know I love God, but in Trump I trust. November 5th, you gon' ride with us. Our red hat stays on. Our red hat stays on. It's the mayor MAGA, but the RNC King. 2024 freedom gon' bring. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. I'm still fighting for each one of you. And keep your red hat on.
All right. I still love that video where we're like shooting that last clip in a hurricane.
Literally. It's like,
what's the wind speed? We can still go out there and shoot a promo. We're good. Guys, welcome to Open Mic with Ali and Michelle. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you follow us at Open Mic Ladies on all streaming platforms. How was your weekend, Ali?
It was great.
Many kids are first full week, right?
First full week of school.
You have survived.
We celebrated by spending all day Saturday at the pool. All day. We were there all day. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Well, I was tuned in. I could not turn off the TV.
I couldn't either. I was on my phone.
Friday evening, I guess, watching what took place as Vladimir Putin visits Alaska and has really a closed door meeting. A lot of it happened behind the scenes with President Donald Trump. But, you know, the right was like, this is amazing. The left was like, what's happening behind closed doors, even though, you know, every elected representative from the presidency has met with Vladimir Putin behind closed doors many times. But take a look at this amazing flex that I know is perfectly timed by the commander in chief. Take a look. This is how he welcomed Putin. I thought that was amazing.
If that is not a show of force, I don't know what else is.
You know what it reminds me of, Ali, is like when, you know, you have a daughter that's like dating age and the guy comes to pick up the daughter and like, you know, is greeted like with a shotgun. The dad opens the door and is like just naturally cleaning his shotgun or something. It's that equivalent, like, welcome, but just know who you're messing with.
Bad Boys.
Yes.
Martin Lawrence and Will Smith comes to the door. Absolutely. That's exactly what it
reminded me of. And, you know, it was excellent. And so you kind of see Putin like walking down the red carpet, and he is somebody that likes to only be portrayed in strength. Like that's just the way they run it in his country. So to see him kind of flinch and look up like, what did you walk into? Iconic.
It is definitely a show of force. That is definitely a flex. We have never had a president like this, and I am loving every minute of it. I am so glad we have him in it for a second term.
Absolutely.
Especially after a 4-year hiatus where he's had time to plan.
Yes.
It just makes it also
he was
much,
definitely
much more
definitely working the entire 4 years. Listen, don't believe what you're hearing on other news networks that, you know, somehow Trump meeting with Putin it makes him a traitor. Take a look at this graphic. This will help put it in perspective for you. It was okay when Clinton, Bush, Obama, even Hillary, she was
Mhm.
never elected anything but appointed Secretary of State. But they can all meet and whisper and show condolences there. But when Trump does it, he's called a traitor. So we just want to keep it in perspective. What do you think about somebody like Hillary Clinton even coming out and saying, listen, if he can broker some kind of a peace deal here, I'll nominate him for the Nobel.
I think she's
Peace
trying to
Prize.
save her ass, to be honest with you. But thank you for the kudos. We appreciate it. Thanks
I
for
really
jumping on board.
wanted you to tell me how that really made you feel.
It's open mic. I said it.
Well, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as one of the many hats he wears, obviously,
Right.
as Secretary of State, he had this to say, trying to put things in perspective, because obviously the left driven media is trying to shape this in all different ways. So let's take a listen to Marco Rubio, then I want your reaction.
Well, that's what these negotiations are about. And as you can imagine, everybody goes into a negotiation wanting 100% of what they want. That includes Ukraine, but obviously the Russians. And the only way to reach a deal on anything, whether it's in business or in politics or in geopolitics, the only way to reach a deal is for each side to get something and each side to give something. And that's been very difficult. If it was easy, this wouldn't have been going on for 3.5 years. Understand, the longer these wars go on, the harder they are to end, unfortunately, because one side is always looking for leverage on the other. In this particular case, the Russian side as well. And so I think that's the core of what we're trying to work through here. That's why Zelensky's coming tomorrow. That's why European leaders are coming tomorrow. That's why the president called them from the airplane, spent 2 hours in the middle of the night talking to them. And that's why we've been engaged with them every step of the way, is we are trying to find what can we get to that both sides can agree on. And it's been difficult. This is a hard issue set, but we're dedicating a lot of time to it. And the president deserves credit for dedicating time to it.
And I understand that these negotiations.
We could bring it back. Yeah.
agree.
So, and this is the thing that Trump really wanted to make sure that everybody understood before the weekend,
Right.
that he's not advocating for Ukraine and he's not advocating for Russia. He's just the adult in the room.
Who's trying to bring the two together. He's the mediator. And he's like, look,
Yeah.
how can I help both of you? Help me help you is essentially what he's saying.
Not to quote Cuba Gooding Jr., but just really, it is a
Help
Jerry
me.
Maguire moment.
Help you. Because seriously, I mean, everybody wins when the war ends, right? And he is definitely a peaceful president. He understands that lives are lost, and he has this value for life that I don't think many people give him enough credit for,
Right.
Especially the left. But we're not really worried about them because they're losing anyway.
Probably
they're
not
on
our
like
audience
the
either.
20% of like every issue anyway. So
Yes.
their ratings are the lowest they've ever been. They're losing people left and right because of the walkaway movement and the things that they're supporting, which is like illegal aliens and
Not
criminals
cleaning up the
and
streets.
not cleaning up their own streets and things of that nature. So let them keep talking because
Yes.
they're just going to completely lose anyway. But President Trump does deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, I believe.
Absolutely. And so as Marco Rubio alluded to today, we've got leaders from the European Union as well as Zelensky, who's going to be meeting with Trump. Now, I'm assuming they'll probably be in the Oval Office a little bit. This is how we are thinking the meeting with Zelensky is going to go. Take a look at this video.
No, quiet, quiet. No, don't be rude.
Can you give
Don't be rude. I can't. Because honestly, that is how it's been the last time he was here. I mean, he had it handed to him by JD Vance and by President Trump. He was in the room and like he just kind of threw a temper tantrum.
He did.
And it just the level of disrespect that man has when he walks into the Oval Office because of the previous administration is just completely mind-blowing.
It is. And so there have been reports, just alleged that he has been asked to also dress appropriately, suit and tie, which is going to be pretty funny.
That'll be interesting to see. I wonder if he shows up that way.
Last time that he was invited to the White House, this is something I don't think regular laymen understood until after the fact, that they had already prepared a deal for him to sign.
Yes.
And then he comes into the Oval Office and he thinks he's going to negotiate in front of the cameras. You don't out Trump.
No.
And so,
and that was just a huge slap in the face to our administration, to Trump, who is a man of respect and loyalty. And when you come at him like that, he had some things to say. I'm sure he was really heated. That exchange was very interesting. I got secondhand embarrassment.
We'll keep you posted and see what takes place if anything transpires during this next hour. Guys, I do want to turn our attention to, obviously, we've been talking a lot here about what's come out through, thankfully, Tulsi Gabbard's exposure of what's been stored as classified documents, obviously not classified, just not meant to come to light for you to see. And that is what's been perplexed as this Russian hoax that you were sold, paid for and sold. Yeah, you were sold through propaganda media. But James Comey himself just takes to social media and has this really strange video that came out. And I say strange because I almost want to check his meds. And I'm just...
Oh, she said it.
I want you to watch and you tell me what you think about this. What the hell is he talking about? Listen.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my Substack. Last week's cold turns out to have been COVID, quite a flashback. And Donald Trump is still president and still humiliating America on a national stage, standing next to Vladimir Putin. It's like a dream, a bad dream you can't wake up from. But I don't want to talk about that bad dream this week. I want to talk about a truly inspirational public figure named Taylor Swift. Of course, I watched her podcast interview with the Kelsey brothers. Of course, I watched the whole thing, although on YouTube, Patrice and I got kicked off for the last 15 minutes and finished it on her phone. But I watched it. You see, Taylor Swift and I go way back. I went to my first concert of hers 15 years ago. I've been to a second, and I have helped financially support the attendance of a lot of family members at others. I'm in a family's Swiftie group chat. I know all her music, and I listen to it in my headphones when I cut the grass. So yes, I have.
His voice in the microphone right now is the equivalent to Joe Biden sniffing babies. It just makes me ill. No?
Did Taylor Swift hold him hostage?
It looks like an ISIS video.
Did she like make him make this video? Like, is that your Substack, sir? All of the issues that we could be talking about, and you want to talk about Taylor Swift?
Well, he's in a Swiftie group chat.
Is he gay?
And by YouTube.
I'm asking a question. You are what are you doing?
What are you doing?
You serve in our government, and this, I mean, obviously he's not great at it.
No.
He's part of the whole.
And listen, accountability is coming. And I think James Comey is maybe he's getting used to those.
No, but this is the thing. Yes, accountability is coming, but is he trying to soften the blow by saying he's a Swiftie to make it like appeasing to the rest of the nation? Like, oh, I'm just a normal person, just like you. There's nothing. I didn't do anything wrong. Is that what this is for?
It's a likability thing. I think what he's trying to do,
PR.
And it's PR. It's a PR spin because what they're hoping is that
fire whoever told him to do this.
As their accountability, as we hopefully see accountability, I think we will. I think you're going to see people on the extreme side of this, on the left, really rise up. That's who he's going after. He's going, listen, like her or not, Taylor Swift does have an army in culture. And can you imagine when somebody like Comey is being brought in or in handcuffs or whatever? That's who he's trying to appease. I think that's who he's trying. It's this kind of color revolution that
It does go back to the color revolution. It goes back to Maoism. It goes back to this whole idea of capturing culture in order to sway it, right? To move it in the way that you want it to move in order for public opinion to be swayed in your direction.
Yes.
He's participating in Project Mockingbird in a sense by doing a video about him and the Swifties. Like I couldn't even listen to the rest of it. It was just like,
but you would think somebody who has at one time had, the Obama administration's PR and media team, that's the best that it looked like I was ready to see ISIS behind him. Like,
could have been
forcing him to do a video. This is not.
Aside from that, I do think that is exactly what he's trying to do, is to appear to be a normal person and appease to the younger generation. Like, hey guys, I'm just like you. I'm normal. I listen to this. I listen to that. I get it, but it's not working.
I want to pivot briefly to an independent journalist that we have here in the state of Florida. We love her. We admire her, Laura Loomer. I hate to say it. She's right. You can call her right. What do we say? So far right, but we're right so far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was anyway. She came out with a report saying, "Hey, there's these Gazans that are coming over with visas, and we did not know about this." The U.S. She's saying the airports all across the U.S. The U.S. State Department just announced that all visitor visas, thanks to her reporting and shedding some light on this, all visitor visas for individuals from Gaza are being stopped. So this is what you have when you have carryovers. People within the administrative state that there's somebody, the heads are usually appointed by the sitting president, which we've done that, right? We've kind of cleaned house, but who sits in those seats that do the day-to-day work in the whether it's the Department of Defense, whether it's in the Department of
They're
Justice,
Biden holdovers.
they are Biden holdovers. And I guess you give them enough time to kind of out themselves. Who called the shots on this? Who decided this was a good thing? I've been kind of monitoring some of the chat. People are asking, could this be children that were needing medical attention coming out of Gaza? And a lot of people are saying, well, then
America's not the world's hospital.
But even if so, why does the whole family come with? Like, you can send one parent possibly, and then they don't need a visa to stay here. They can get maybe a medical type of visa that allows you to come in.
And don't we have medical ships? I mean, wasn't that the whole point? We had medical ships during COVID. We can't have medical ships go to over there to help them out. Like, that's the point, right? We should not be taking in Gazans we cannot do that. I mean, have you seen the Birmingham? Have you seen Canada? Have you seen the UK and how the streets are flooded of people that are from Pakistan and from the Middle East that are shouting
death to America,
death to America, and trying to rise up Islam? Like, we can't have this, guys. I have literally lost friends and family members with this war in Afghanistan and Iraq and all that. Like, we cannot have this stuff here.
Well, and let's not even forget that when they serve and come home, they're not the same. And that if you would have told me on 9/12/2001 that we would see an attempt to almost infiltrate this country with more people that are shouting death to America. I can remember watching those planes hit the building, and then it was like all these people were in certain neighborhoods of New York were out chanting death to America.
They were literally walking and blocking the streets of the Brooklyn Bridge 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
And taking over our colleges, doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a mistake. This is happening on purpose, and it's very strategic. There was a reason why we had a border that was wide open with no oversight. There's a reason why we had people that were in office sitting in Congress that could not do their job. There is a reason why there was a covert operation to undermine an incoming president. There is a reason. There was a coup to completely take over our country and make our country a third world country. There is a reason for that.
And you've got to understand, too, that they never intended Trump to win the first time.
No, because they wanted him dead.
They did. They did. And really, we joke, but this is to know the depths of this was why I love the guests we're going to have on after this commercial break. Guys, we do have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Open Mic.
Hang on, before we go, I want to lead off with Liberty Cigars, a toast to American heritage. From the heart of Marietta, Georgia, comes a tribute to the spirit of liberty. Liberty Cigars, where history meets craftsmanship. Each cigar tells a story. The Founders Collection honors the visionaries who shaped the nation. The President's House Collection celebrates the leaders who steered it. And the Naval Series salutes the heroes who defended it. Handcrafted with precision, each blend mirrors the essence of its namesake, from the boldness of George Washington to the elegance of Thomas Jefferson. Indulge in a moment of reflection. Light a Liberty cigar and savor the legacy. Discover your story at libertycigars.com, because every great nation deserves a great cigar. Liberty Cigars, smoke the history, and make sure you use promo code OpenMic to receive 10% off your order. Thank you, guys. We'll be right back after this.
Gold IRA companies are a dime a dozen, especially in conservative media. We vetted out 34 companies and chose Augusta Precious Metals.
With the lowest across-the-board spreads in the gold IRA industry, Augusta saves Americans thousands of dollars.
They are the only major gold IRA company that has zero complaints from their customers. Zero. None.
Augusta Precious Metals does not have commissioned sales reps, which means their goals are aligned with yours.
They were the only gold IRA company that demonstrated integrity and transparency without using gimmicks.
The informative one-on-one web conferences by Augusta Precious Metals answer all of their customers' questions before they make a move.
If you're ready to learn about protecting your wealth and retirement with gold and silver, request your free gold guide from Augusta Precious Metals today.
Visit patriot.tv/gold. That's patriot.tv/gold today.
If you understand what happened to him, you start to peel back the curtain on everything.
I think the General Flynn story is actually the foundational story that America needs to understand the truth of, to be able to understand what has occurred within our government and the mounting corruption since then.
If they can learn something from what Michael went through, to believe in this country under extreme and extraordinary circumstances, and still come through the other side and not give up on America, that's what they need to learn from what this documentary can portray him. It is, in fact, the truth. He will not stop fighting for this republic, for this, what he calls, experiment.
My mother and father would be so proud because he's the only person that could have withstood. They knew that he was the only one. He was meant for this time. He's the only person that could have withstood this type of, this evil, this unfathomable domestic evil that we're facing, and beat it too.
It's very hard not to get jaded and turned off and just say, I'm just going to go away. Mike Flynn is not going to do that. Mike Flynn I think people need to understand, he's going to be there fighting for them. Maybe not as an elected official, but certainly as a public person, as a veteran, as a father, as a grandfather. He's going to be out there swinging at the fences to try to bring sanity back to this country.
In the last 8-9 years knew this story firsthand. So make sure you go to flynnmovie.com to get your hands on that. I want to introduce our next guest, guys. It's quite a bio here.
I feel like I need to stand and salute.
You should absolutely. After 25 years, guys, of countering people like ISIS, the Taliban, MS-13, and Russian aggression in the U.S. Army and U.S. intelligence community, as a Green Beret, intel officer, military diplomat, even Silicon Valley tech scout, instructor of intelligence, and constitutional lawyer. Yeah, take a deep breath. Wow. Ivan is now technically retired, but he doesn't do retirement the old-fashioned way.
No.
He's exposing corruption and our domestic enemies at literally the highest levels. He is presenting solutions to restore our constitutional republic, one county and state at a time. He is a true hero. Take a look at this video. We'll welcome Ivan Raiklin.
I bet you ain't seen nothing yet, yeah, I'm just warming up, I'm yet to break a sweat, there ain't a need to brag, no need to flex, and when they said I couldn't do it, I became obsessed. Can't describe what I've been feeling inside, yeah, I've been proving people wrong, cause then I look them in the eyes and say,
retribution is more formal. It is a more controlled response, often associated with justice systems punishing offenders proportionally to their crimes.
Here's where I'm at.
Okay.
We want COVID accountability. We want Russia accountability. We want the 2020 election heist accountability. We want the January 6th Fedsurrection accountability that goes and lands on Pelosi's desk and the General Counsel of the U.S. Capitol Police, Tad DeBias's desk, and Jamie Raskin's desk. And then the cover-up to that Fedsurrection led by David Buckley, one of the 51 spies who lied, who happened to be the IG for Johnny Boy Brennan. We want it all.
We want it all. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Welcome to Open Mic, sir. How are you?
Thank you for having me, ladies. Excellent.
Yeah, we're tickled to have you here. We just love, obviously we're no strangers. We first, at least I first met you on the Flynn movie tour. To see what you guys have done, not only with the Flynn documentary, but moving forward, once Trump was reelected, being able to see you guys put this into action. You knew that this was what was the heart of the American people were. They wanted retribution for not only what Fauci did. I'm so proud of you to not only stand up in Fauci's kind of face, kind of shouting him down a little bit in the hallways there on Capitol Hill when he was testifying. You're not letting this go.
It was
and
to
I
his
think
face.
Yeah, it was. And you're not afraid to get in anybody's face, which I love. I really like that about you. So
you started off as the deep state marauder. So explain to our viewers who maybe don't know how you came about this. You've got a great career, a great history. How did you decide that you weren't done serving?
Yes, I mean, I think just like a lot of other people in 2020, when we observed the just complete tyranny takeover by individuals within our government, where they told us, "Hey, you have to wear a face toilet, you have to, mutilate your DNA, you have to go ahead and vote according to how they want you to vote, which is not in accordance with the state law nor the federal constitution." And so that in the entire collective, to me, it was such an egregious affront to what my core values were and what I spent 25 years supporting and defending, the Constitution. It was so repulsive that they weaponized me against them. Okay. That's what it comes down to. And I guess what part of Green Beret and lawyer did they miss? Because
Mm.
if just like if you meet me in the street, if you're going to punk me, I don't care how strong, how powerful, and if you're backed by $1 trillion, you're going to face the maximum resistance that I'm physically and also intellectually able to push back with. So that's what that's basically what activated me: the illegal election, all the illegal measures by the government. And so since then, I've been on this, you want to call it what it is, war path to push back against the tyranny. Now, we still have a lot of it still in our current government. We call it the proverbial deep state. But I thought to myself, how do I best utilize my background, experience, subject matter expertise, as well as network and understanding of the government to be able to surgically, in the most pixel level, if you will, 8K fidelity, determine who are the individuals in our deep state by name, date, place, transgression, section, division, department, and institution that are behind all of this tyranny. Because at the end of the day, it lays on the desk of an individual.
Yes.
And so I put together a list of individuals by category that were behind it. And it looks as though this current administration is moving towards working through the problem set known as actioning those traitors that go back to 2016, 10 years ago, that were involved in it. And you started with the clip about the General Flynn movie. Bottom line here is that every single transgression that we've witnessed as our individual rights being stripped away, President Trump being attacked, starts with the General Flynn story, because he was the biggest threat to their existing order, because he would have been the very first individual to be able to expose them and then subsequently create the necessary accountability. And they had to start with him and then be able to fill that void of a General Flynn with others like a Mike Pence and others around President Trump to be able to essentially handle him his first term. Now, albeit he did quite a bit. I mean, he was able to do quite a bit with all the snakes around him. And it appears as though this second go, while we haven't seen any accountability yet, no one's been arrested, it appears as though, at least rhetorically in the court of public opinion, there's this increasing demand, both in our circles and then also by Tulsi Gabbard providing evidence and members of Congress. There's at least less cowardice in this second term thus far. Now, is it where I would like it to be? You introduced me earlier on. Is there fire and brimstone as it should be? Not even close.
Right.
We have a coward for a Speaker of the House. We have a technically surrogate of Mitch McConnell as the Senate Majority Leader in the name of John Thune. I personally have no issue with him, other than he's weak, right? They are all weak. And so we have quite a few weak individuals in the administration as well. I wish they would have half as much courage as the president, because if they had half as much or even 1/10 of the courage that the president has, then we would be much further along in making sure that these individuals that are on my list and on America's list are no longer on the streets, such as a Comey, such as a Hillary, the list goes on. And I mentioned a few names in that little intro video.
Yes. Well, and so Ivan, obviously you and others in our circle have been on these stories for a while. We kind of hoped that this was coming out, but what do you say to people, even some of our viewers who maybe are just now sort of hearing this information? This is a lot of information, everything from we were right about COVID, the origins of COVID, the fact that taxpayer dollars really went to pay for that and then took so many lives. You look at the Russia hoax.
I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted of being right. So when people call me, when you look me up on the internet, right? Oh, far right, radical, what is it? Extremist. If you use that, if somebody used that terminology in person to me, I would say, why are you calling me a pansy? That's not even on the spectrum of who I am. I am so off the spectrum of being accurate and right along with you two that like there's no label other than very truthful individual. That might be the most accurate term.
Yeah.
It's like what we said. They call us far right, but we're right so far. I mean, it is what it is.
Get tired of being right. As women, we never get tired of being right. I don't know about you, but that's something that we always believe in. I want to ask you a little bit. Let's just show, if we can, Krista in the control room. We're gonna play just a short video because this was the iconic moment. I'm like, I love this man. Take a look at this video, the Fauci video. We'll go ahead and play that. A little bit of a long intro here, guys. We'll get to it. I know. Let's see who's coming up.
Yeah, so this is, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
So this is Fauci coming out of his entourage vehicle protection detail. That Capitol Police officer you see in front of you is usually there in the Rayburn building. I know him very well. Like he knows what I do. I always exercise my First Amendment to the max.
Hey, Tony, are you sad that you're in the number 3 spot as it applies to murdering people throughout the entire world after Stalin and Hitler? Sure. How many people do you think you murdered based on your policies, along with Mike Pence at the White House Coronavirus Task Force? How much did Mike Pence know about your involvement in taking not only millions of dollars according to the documentation, but also you subsequently funding the Wuhan Institute of Virology that ended up destroying America's economy, as well as destroying millions of people, whether it was through the myocarditis-making jabs, the DNA mutilation injections that were never approved by the FDA. There was a big switch. It was legally distinct, meaning you were forcing the injections of emergency use authorized products into our military service members that destroyed our.
We can bring it back, Krista. Yeah.
I love how as soon as you start talking and asking questions, they pick up the pace double. Like it is crazy how they're trying to run away from you even asking the questions.
How does that song go? Oh, take the money and run.
Yeah, yeah. Double time, soldier, double time. I think this is great. I love that you do this. I mean, I remember watching some of these confirmation hearings, and even when Fauci was sitting in the congressional hearing, where you're sitting behind him and you just have this FAFO look on your face, and it was just phenomenal. You give them this death stare that like, try me, bro. But you need answers. You demand answers. And as a service member, a prior service member, I believe, being so upset about this emergency use authorization and having these bioweapons forced on American soldiers for the sake of just do your job, just do it because we said so. And then you had whistleblowers that were coming out trying to say, look, we can't do this. This isn't okay for us. You're going to completely cripple our military capabilities. And I think that is something that definitely needs retribution on, for sure.
Absolutely. And
because we have military members that are still suffering from the outcomes of that.
Well, and one of the things that really touched my heart when I saw you doing this, you're speaking for a lot of us Americans that lost loved ones.
Yes.
We never got a chance to feel like we've ever seen any kind of vindication for that. So I don't know if you realize that or not, Ivan, but when you push your way into those areas and you're not afraid to take that bold stance and use your voice, even if you're shouting down at him as he's walking away, you're speaking up for all of us. So thank you for doing that.
No, thank you for saying that, because I kind of do realize that in a sense, because our members of Congress, let's face it, there's only one senator, maybe two maximum, that are fighting on this particular issue. That would be Senator Ron Johnson and Rand Paul. On the House side, we barely have two there as well. And that's Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now it's kind of tapered off since, but let's face it, 2 out of 435, 2 out of 100. So, and then amidst all that, we have an entire censored ecosystem in the digital and media landscape. So I felt as though the only avenue that somebody of such as myself could do the local action, meaning, having that national impact, is to go up the road from where I'm currently located 20 minutes and essentially showcase myself in front of C-SPAN and say, hey, we the people, it's unacceptable that our Republican majority in Congress is doing nothing. Yeah, they're bringing him in to testify, but they're not going to ask the right questions.
No.
Marjorie may be the only one that asks the right questions that we care about.
Right.
And then so it kind of, we have to have somebody in there to explain to them what is important to us. And I'm glad these videos go viral because it shows that this is what people want. They want accountability, not in the sense of me just approaching this individual. They want them exposed, and then they want them criminalized for the crimes that they committed.
Have you been in any contact with any of our representatives, giving them the information that you have, providing them the questions that you have in order for them to actually conduct their jobs the right way? They are representatives of we the people, and you have a very unique ability to explain these things in a way that they can understand. So have you been in contact with our representatives and kind of pushing them to do the right thing?
Yeah, I'll answer that question in general terms. When I'm in the halls of Congress, all of the Democrats, maybe short of one, actually run away from me when they see me in the hallway. Okay. Number two, if you're a Republican, if you're just a general weak, coward Republican, I like to call them, then you're going to say, hey, hi, Ivan, how are you doing? I'm busy. I have a meeting to go to. Now, if you're from the Freedom Caucus, you're going to see, oh, hey, Ivan, what's up? What's new? What do you got? And then the conversation continues. So those are the individuals that I feel as though most of the folks that are in the Freedom Caucus, one, have courage. And the reason why they have courage is because most of their, I guess, probably funding and support comes from grassroots, right? And so they're not tethered to foreign lobbyists, whether, and then the whole money laundering scheme. That's why they're able to vote against funding the Ukraine war. That's why they're able to, vote contrary to China's interests, or contrary, I should say, in support of American interests, rather than having dual loyalties to other nations. So those are the individuals that I talk to the most. And to answer your question, absolutely. So in some instances, these members of Congress actually, take my recommendations and incorporate them. One, unfortunately, is no longer in Congress. Florida's 1st congressional district. I had, many interactions with him and his staff in the run up to the removal of Kevin McCarthy. And I was pushing very hard to remove Kevin McCarthy, primarily due to two components. One is he really did nothing on the COVID front, right, as a Speaker of the House. And number two, probably even more important at the time for me, was that he wasn't releasing the video footage to showcase the Fedsurrection on January 6th. And so we aligned, Matt Gaetz and I aligned massively with the rest of the country. And that was, I think, the first time in American history that a member of Congress was able to set the conditions in motion to be able to remove Kevin McCarthy. If I may add one thing that is very important.
Yeah.
There is no way that Matt Gaetz would have been able to remove McCarthy and then upgrade slightly to a Mike Johnson without the fight that we had in January with the 15 different votes to get him in. So when I was doing the whole Speaker Trump operation, if you call it, it wasn't as much to get Speaker Donald Trump to be the Speaker of the House. While that would have been nice for a couple of weeks and we would have been able to address a lot of things more quickly, it was more to apply the necessary pressure to get people to focus in on the speaker's race to see how crucial it was to have what's called a motion to vacate the chair with one individual. Without that motion to vacate the chair that we were able to win and wrestle out of the establishment, there's no way that Matt Gaetz would have been able to remove Kevin McCarthy.
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
all of this is to say that we have been winning and putting the ball down the field, 1 yard at a time, barely making first down after a fourth down. We haven't scored yet, from my perspective, on the January 6th component on COVID, but we're inching our way towards the end zone. And it's like, now we need to increase our pressure.
Absolutely. You mentioned Speaker Mike Johnson. We've put together many calls to action here on our show. Things like trying to make sure that all of the executive orders by Trump get codified into law. Like, let's bring these things up for vote. So we're
Act and the
exactly. But you
Modernization
mentioned actually on social media, the House Resolution 605, establishing the select subcommittee to investigate the remaining questions surrounding January 6th. So what do we need to now work on, maybe with Speaker Mike Johnson, just to give him the right nudge? Is that this is obviously something you want to see happen?
Fantastic question. So I used to teach intelligence analysis, and when somebody asks me a question, I usually like to broaden the question, go through it and basically ask it in a different way.
Yeah.
So I would take that question and ask it this way, and I'll answer it, is that what do we have in our toolbox to maximally, in the most unconventional way ever, but legally, morally, and ethically, be able to expose the truth of January 6th and then create maximum accountability, punishment, justice, retribution, whatever you want to call it. Right. From my perspective and understanding the constitutional framework, the only individual in our government that has dual branch authority is J.D. Vance in his role as the vice president, the number 2 guy in the executive branch, above the DOJ, right? Above the DHS, above the DOD, right? If you will. And he also serves as the president of the Senate, meaning he is the senior most senator, if you will, for the Senate, above the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune. And a lot of people don't think of it that way because traditionally the Senate Majority Leader is kind of the leader of the Senate. Well, he's not listed constitutionally in our Constitution, he or she, right? It's only the president of the Senate. So what can J.D. Vance do effectively? J.D. Vance can literally today say, you know what? President Trump's kicking butt over here. He's working with, trying to end the war in Ukraine. I'm going to take the position of working with Pam, Cash, Dan Bongino, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth on the executive branch side, along with Tulsi Gabbard, to then look at everything in our holdings in the executive branch as it relates to communications between the previous regime and the legislative branch, and work with my Senate Sergeant at Arms, who's the chair of the Capitol Police Board, and direct the Senate Sergeant at Arms to say, hey, as the chair of the Capitol Police Board, you will now direct the release of all January 6th communications from the legislative branch. So you got legislative, you got executive, and then he can give, and then also send a phone call to or call up Dana White and Elon Musk so that they go ahead and provide information in Twitter direct messages that were used by some of these individuals on the list that I have, as well as Dana White can go ahead and look at their Facebook Messenger posts since he's on the board of Facebook now.
Right.
So then in the collective, all private holdings, all governmental executive branch holdings, all legislative branch holdings related to January 6th. And I can almost guarantee you they will then immediately be able to prove, just like Tulsi's just been releasing, that Nancy Pelosi ran the entire op known as January 6th. David Buckley, who was one of the 51 spies who lied, worked with Jamie Raskin and the general counsel of the Capitol Police, Tad Tobias, to run the Fedsurrection cover-up known as the J6 Select Committee to then weaponize against President Trump, those that never entered D.C. on that day, those that didn't enter the Capitol that day, and all the other January 6th defendants, their family members, affiliates, and those of us that were pushing back against the false narrative. And then we're going to go ahead and be able to show those individuals' communications with John Brennan and the rest of the 51 spies who lied. Because one of the 51 spies who lied, as mentioned in that little clip, was David Buckley, former Inspector General for the CIA Director John Brennan, also the staff director for the Intel Committee previously, and then the staff director for the January 6th Select Committee. Right. Oh, did I fail to mention the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Matt Graves? Yes. All of that is going to be showcased. So when Ed Martin yesterday on Maria Bartiromo says that the same individuals that are involved in Russia hoax are you're going to see are going to be the same individuals involved in the Eric Ciaramella fake whistleblower scheme after the Mueller investigation failed to result in what they wanted to because there was no Russian collusion. They had to continue with escalatory cover-ups after escalatory cover-ups.
Which makes it a conspiracy.
And it makes it a conspiracy. And guess what? A lot of people say, oh, we can't go after him because the 5-year statute of limitations. I'd like to remind you, I like that in Kate's head shake.
Nope.
There is no statute of limitations for crimes where a capital punishment is included as a potential punishment. So if you have, I don't know, treason, you can result that in capital punishment.
Yep. Treason,
which means
sedition,
that
conspiracy.
everybody involved in that RICO, there is no statute of limitations. So even if it doesn't get addressed this administration, the next administration, I guarantee you it will, because America will be so furious at the end of this first year that there has yet to be accountability. Pam Bondi, we're going to seek other methods and mechanisms and unconventionally to guarantee legally, morally, and ethically that these individuals are held to account. That's not
So
a
what do
threat. I'm just guaranteeing
Absolutely.
and forecasting what the future will hold.
Exactly. I love how you laid all this out. So what do you think is the holdup for JD Vance not taking this position and doing exactly what you've said? He has the power to do it. I'm sure he has the will to do it, but what is the exact holdup?
I'm not sure that his team has thought of this yet, to be honest. And
okay, so should this be like some kind of call to action? Do we need to apply our political pressure as we the people?
Our moms for America. Can you imagine that?
if I may, I would recommend the following in the respectful tone, because JD Vance has been crushing it from my perspective. He's been doing great. I think this right here will be a legacy shaping event, which will guarantee his, he won't be an asterisk in the annals of American history. He will come out as a modern day hero. And if we juxtapose it with what Mike Pence didn't do back on January 6th, this will be the methodology for this vice president to actually course correct our country as that same individual in that same position as the president of the Senate and the vice president. So I would recommend that JD Vance call a meeting with Ron Johnson to kind of I recommend that there be a joint committee running this with Ron Johnson heading it, because the reason why Ron Johnson, because he already did much of this January 6th investigative work back in 2021, also with the whole Russia, the Biden criminal syndicate laptop, along with Chuck Grassley, et cetera. I think Ron Johnson's the #1 draft pick to represent Senate equities to support JD Vance. And on the House side, I would recommend that Barry Loudermilk be the one representing House equities and knowledge of the ecosystem and all the work that he's done over the last 2 years. And essentially, JD Vance at the top running a joint committee that is agreed upon by Thune and Mike Johnson, but essentially effectively directed by JD Vance, because he can then direct the Senate Sergeant at Arms. And then the Speaker, Mike Johnson, can direct his Sergeant at Arms as 2 of the 3 voting members of the Capitol Police Board to then compel the General Counsel to release everything. All deliberative documents related to the weaponization against all J6 defendants, all deliberative documents and coordination that was done with the J6 Select Committee and their staff to then weaponize against Trump through their communications with Jack Smith, their communications with Fonnie Willis, their communications with Alvin Bragg, and then the other weaponization that occurred downstream from that, to include the electors that were weaponized against in Georgia, Wisconsin, Arizona, and at least to some extent, Pennsylvania, et cetera. And then let's not forget, same thing happened. We still have January 6ers that are in prison. I consider Tina Peters is a January 6er because she was the one of the 3,143 county clerks in our country that had the courage to expose the illegally conducted election in her county. And so I know that's a lot, but I've done quite a bit of research on this, and I'm happy to pro bono to come in and brief anybody, whether it's closed doors, behind the scenes. My name doesn't even have to be mentioned. It's about the information and me understanding the system sufficiently to be able to communicate with those that are in positions of power to take it to the maximum. And again, when I say maximum, it's always legal, moral, and ethical, maximum with maximum political courage, which a lot of people don't have, but I think JD may consider it. So if you know if anybody listening in knows JD Vance or can let him know about this, I think this is the maximum plan going into we're closing the summer recess right now in the next couple weeks. So this should be discussed going into September 2nd when they return from summer recess in Congress.
Absolutely.
I think we are at a very unique position in history where we, the people, are now realizing our political power and how we can apply our political power at the appropriate political pressure points in order to move the needle. And I think you and I and Michelle are going to be in conversations where we're able to draft some kind of messaging moving forward so that we can get this in JD Vance's ear, even if it's just we the people that are pushing that needle to get his attention, I think would be very important
Well,
to
but
do.
this has already happened with the Trump administration.
Yes.
You had Natalie Winters out yesterday or last week saying, you know, there was something that had gone on in the Trump administration, and her and Steve Bannon kind of did a piece on it, and Trump and his administration pivoted a bit. I think that's
the same with Laura
part
Loomer.
of the
She's done the
joy
same thing.
of him liking independent journalists. I have to say, you alluded to a little bit about the 2020 election, which is why sometimes we ask our viewers, please buckle your seatbelt, because we're not trying to get all up in our feelings or like have a spirit of fear around us. But this is a different season we're in, where all the transparency that we prayed about, I think, is coming out. What do you see coming out about the 2020 election? What should we kind of keep our eyes and ears open for?
So as Director Gabbard's team essentially looks into this problem set, as I mentioned with JD Vance, he's in a position to do a lot of all of it, because at the end of the day, January 6th, the reason why it played out the way it did is because we didn't want the stolen election to stay as it is. We wanted it to actually be adjudicated properly. Right. So I think this may be our moment where, as America sees that the 2020 election was an illegitimately run election, not only in the 6 contested states, a lot of people don't realize that 39 states ran their elections under COVID rules by what's called non-legislative actors. So the way that a presidential and vice presidential election is run is under the auspices of Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution, where the state legislatures decide how to allocate their own state's electors. And all states have decided that they're going to do that through an election law, giving a popular vote the determining factor on allocation of that legislative body's allocation of the electoral vote. But governors, judges, secretaries of state, county clerks, they all decided due to COVID that they're going to run their elections under a different scheme, which violated that state's election law in 39 states. So it wasn't 6 states, 39 states ran their elections illegitimately under those COVID measures. So as people see this, the entire election was illegitimate, short of 11 states, right?
Exactly.
And so when we see that, I think the nexus is going to, at the end of the day, the evidence is going to show Fauci funded the lab incident that created the deliberate change of rules in 39 states to steal an election, so that the cabal that did the illegal spying operation in 2016 and the Russia hoax could go back into power so that they would not be held to account. And in that period of time, obviously, they had to take out General Flynn. They had to keep him completely out of, so that he wouldn't have access to President Trump and the rest of the intel community to be able to work this problem set 7-8 years ago. So 8 years later, we've fought through, and now we're in a position where all of this is going to be exposed, not only the original transgression, but the subsequent escalatory cover-ups, the Mueller probe cover-up, the whistleblowing scheme cover-up led by impeachment manager Jamie Raskin. Why was Jamie Raskin the lead impeachment manager for the second impeachment hoax? It was because his wife, Sarah Raskin, was one of the 39 individuals that unlawfully unmasked General Flynn to spy on him. It's like all this is so incestuous generational rot. I have it in 8K high definition, beyond high definition, and I'm only giving you the superficial kind of touch points. Of there's 1,400 individuals and growing on my list.
Well, and that's part of what we do here on Open Mic. I feel like we deliver it to people in the sweetest way possible, because it's always good to take medicine with a dose of sugar. But also, how does this break down to your kitchen table, right? How are you able to have these conversations with people in the supermarket? Somehow it needs to be more of a surface level. I want to tell you, can we do a little bit of humor at the end of the show? And because Zelensky is meeting with Trump today, I think we might have had special video. Can we roll that, please, Krista? Let's roll that. Anybody who has kids has done that before, just whee.
Well, apparently there's video of him getting off the airplane and he has no suit on, and George Papadopoulos posts and he says, "No suit, no service." We'll see if he changes on the way into the Oval Office. We'll see. Thank you so much, Ivan, for your incredible 50,000 foot view and your incredible advice and expertise on all the situations of like corruption that has occurred over the last 10 years.
And I want to make sure our viewers know you have to, if you're not already, you have to follow Ivan not only on social
Like
media.
it is a must.
But make sure you follow him on Rumble too, because I think that's where you can get more in depth on whether it's a media blitz you're running, just the message you give. So can you just let our viewers know where they can catch up with you on social media?
Yeah, just look up on the free speech platforms, X, Rumble, a little bit on Telegram if the other ones kind of die out for whatever reason. Just my last name, Raiklin. You'll be able to find me. I got a Substack that I sporadically post some kind of deeper thought and analysis on, similar
Not
to
about
kind of
Taylor
the
Swift, though,
plan.
right?
What's that?
I said not about Taylor Swift, though, right?
Like James Comey.
No.
James
It would be more along the lines of what we need to do in order to go ahead and get Jim Comey under arrest, and how to deputize me so that I'm the first guy in the stack as I go ahead and conduct the swatting raid of him. Again, if I'm deputized lawfully.
I'd love that. That would
Absolutely.
be great.
Well,
Where's my popcorn?
we hope you are a continued guest on Open Mic, because we've just chiseled away at the top level. Guys, again, please follow Ivan Raiklin and make sure that you keep it tuned here to Open Mic for more. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. I know you've got a busy week ahead of you. We'll hopefully catch up for you soon.
Thank you. And my motto is castrate the deep state and then crush the commies.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
I'm taking that to the next school board meeting with me. Thank you so much, sir, for your service.
All right. See you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Wow, that was amazing.
Guys, that was an incredible interview. Ivan is an incredible person. He just I have
and
no
listen,
other words.
we're aware that this seems like a lot of information, but guys,
it's
you
like
have
drinking
to
from a fire hose.
It is. Our generation can do it. We can do
we
it.
can do it.
We survived. Just make sure that you keep it locked here. Follow Ivan on social media. Also follow @RealAllyLeger, @MichellePosey, and @OpenMicLadies on all social media platforms. I hate that we're almost out of time. We keep asking for that second hour.
We do. We need another
We need 2
hour.
hours. We need 2
We could have had
hours.
Ivan for a whole 2 hours, to be honest with you. I mean, the amount of information he was given, I cannot wait to work with him on messaging and how we can get this actually done, so we can finally get some retribution, right?
Absolutely.
Castrate the deep state. Let's go.
Let's go. I'm ready. Guys, thanks for joining us on Open Mic. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Is high, inflation's up in the sky. Red hat stays on, red hat stays on. And I don't care how they look at me in the deepest heart of a blue city. Red hat stays on, red hat stays on. And I know when you smile, you like what you see. If you love America, you'll agree. Red hat stays on.